Have you ever stared at your phone, hoping their name would finally appear? 1 hour became 1 day. 1 day became 1 week. And suddenly, they were gone. No goodbye, no explanation, just silence. But here's the disturbing part. Being ghosted isn't the most painful thing. The real damage happens inside your mind. And before this video ends, I'll reveal the one psychological reason your brain refuses to let them go. Once you understand it, you'll never look at silence the same way again. You've been telling yourself, they're probably busy. They'll reply tomorrow. They just forgot. So you keep checking your phone again and again, even though, deep inside, you already know something has changed. Your brain hates unanswered questions. That's why silence feels louder than rejection. But what most people don't realize is that your brain is secretly doing something that makes the pain even worse. We'll come back to that in a moment. It's where almost everyone gets it wrong. You think you're suffering because they stopped talking to you. But that's not what hurts the most. The real pain comes from the stories your mind creates to explain their silence. They found someone better. I wasn't enough. I did something wrong. Notice something. They never said those words. You did. And that's where the trap begins. But the worst part of this trap is still ahead. Imagine someone simply walked away, without saying a single word. Strange, isn't it? A few seconds of silence can stay inside your head for months. Not because silence is powerful, but because your brain is desperate to finish an unfinished story. And that unfinished story slowly becomes your identity. But there's one hidden psychological mechanism causing all of this. Most people never even notice it. We'll uncover it near the end. Think about the last time someone ghosted you. Be honest. Was it really the person? Or was it the endless what-if questions that kept replaying in your mind? What if I had said something different? What if I texted one more time? What if they actually cared? Those questions quietly steal your peace. Day after day. And in the next part, you're about to discover the psychological effect that makes ghosting feel almost impossible to forget. Brain doesn't just remember people. It remembers unfinished stories. That's why someone who disappeared without saying goodbye can stay in your mind longer than someone who actually broke your heart. You don't miss the conversation. You miss the ending you never got. And without realizing it, your mind starts creating hundreds of imaginary endings. But here's what almost nobody knows. Those imaginary endings slowly become your reality. Imagine reading a book, and someone tears out the final chapter. Would you stop thinking about it? Probably not. Your brain treats ghosting exactly the same way. It keeps searching for an ending that doesn't exist. And while you're searching, life quietly keeps moving forward without you. The scary part? Most people never realize they're trapped inside a story that's already over. This isn't even the biggest mistake. The biggest mistake is believing that being ghosted defines your worth. It doesn't. Someone else's silence doesn't measure your value. It only measures their decision. Yet millions of people spend months questioning themselves, instead of questioning the situation. And that's exactly where the real psychological damage begins. Here's the question that changes everything. What if they never planned to explain anything? What if silence was the explanation? Not because you weren't enough, but because avoiding difficult conversations felt easier for them. That single realization has helped thousands of people finally move on. But there's still one hidden psychological effect we haven't uncovered yet. And it's the biggest one. Everything you've heard so far explains the pain, but not the addiction, because yes, your brain can become addicted to waiting for one message, one apology, one explanation, one final goodbye. And the psychology behind that addiction is far more disturbing than most people realize. We're about to uncover it. Brain is built to chase rewards. Every time your phone lights up, it expects something good to happen. When someone suddenly disappears, your brain keeps waiting for that reward to come back. That's why you keep checking your phone, even when you know nothing is coming. And here's the scary part. The longer you wait, the harder it becomes to let go. Here's something almost nobody talks about. Sometimes, ghosting has nothing to do with you. Some people disappear because they avoid uncomfortable conversations. Others leave because they don't know how to explain their feelings. And some simply choose silence, because it feels easier than honesty. That doesn't make it right, but it changes the story you've been telling yourself. Remember the hidden psychological reason I promised to reveal? Here it is. Your brain hates uncertainty more than rejection. Rejection gives you an answer. Silence gives you endless possibilities. And your mind keeps replaying every memory, trying to solve a mystery that may never have an answer. That's why ghosting can hurt even more than hearing the truth. Oh, how do you finally move on? Not by waiting, not by sending another message, and not by creating imaginary answers. You move on the moment you accept that not every question will receive an answer. Peace doesn't come from getting closure. Sometimes, peace comes from giving yourself closure. Maybe they never planned to come back. Maybe they never planned to explain. But your future doesn't have to stay trapped inside someone else's silence. The moment you stop chasing answers, you start getting your life back. And if you thought this was disturbing, wait until you discover why people slowly lose interest in someone they once couldn't live without. Because that paradox might be even more painful. It's the biggest paradox. The person who ghosted you may have stopped thinking about the situation long ago, but your brain kept replaying it every single day. Not because you were weak, because your mind was searching for certainty. The moment you stop demanding answers from someone else, you take back control of your own life. Think about it. How many hours? How many nights? How many emotions have you given to someone who never gave you an explanation? Imagine putting all that energy into yourself instead. Sometimes, moving on isn't losing someone. It's finally finding yourself again. You'll never know why they left. And maybe you don't need to, because the answer you've been chasing was never going to heal you. Healing begins when you stop waiting for someone else to close a chapter and choose to write the next one yourself. Ghosting leaves questions, but those questions don't have to define your future. The next time someone disappears without a word, remember this. Silence is information, not a measure of your worth. And the sooner you accept that, the sooner you become free. You know why silence hurts so much. But here's something even more unsettling. Sometimes, people don't disappear. They slowly lose interest, while standing right in front of you. And most of us don't even notice it until it's too late. In the next Human Paradox episode, we'll uncover the hidden psychology behind why people lose interest in someone they once cared about. Because understanding that might save a relationship before it quietly disappears.